I wanted to make a quick video demo for you guys telling you about some common terms associated with databases. And in this case, the terms I want to talk about are field and field variable. So let's start with field. In a database, a field is a place where you enter data. So in this particular database, which contains about 60 board games, the fields are the data that I'm going to enter for each of the board games. And for each of the board games, I'm going to enter its name, the number of recommended players, the maximum number of players, the duration of the game in minutes, whether or not it's an expansion, and the addition of the game. So I have 6 fields here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are fields. I'm going to put data in them. The important part about fields, though, is they kind of tell you what sort of data goes in there. It wouldn't make sense for me to put the name of the game in a duration field, right? That's not the right place for it. And in Excel, this is fairly easy to fix. But when you move to Access next week, it's going to be very important that your fields all have the correct sort of data in them. So for example, if I had put the name of the game here, well, in Excel, that's not that hard to fix, right? I can just delete that and put in the number of minutes. In Access or other databases, you have to be very, very careful about putting the right type of information in the right field. That leads me to the second term, which is field variable, also known as a value or an entry. The key part here is this word vary, right? That's the root word here, and vary means change or different. So there's no point to having a field if everything in it is the same. We don't care. Why would you put that information in the database? For example, I don't have a field named board games. They're all board games. That would be a waste of my time to type yes for all of the games. But I do have a couple fields that give me information about the board games. And the field variables can be sorted into a couple of different types. And what I want you to do for this assignment is to identify your fields and then tell me what type of information is going in there. So let's look at mine for an example. In the name field, everything is different. So all I'm going to write here is that it's unique. So that this field has unique entries. None of it's the same. For recommended players, it looks like I have numbers. And those numbers tend to be ranges. And numbers in field variables are often expressed as ranges. So I'm going to type that. It looks like I think the smallest one is 2. Yep. And the largest one I think is 10. So I'm going to express this as a range, and it's going to be from 2 to 10 players. And that tells someone looking at this document that in the field that's titled recommended players, they're expecting to find numbers, and they're expecting numbers between 2 and 10. There's not going to be the number 3,000 or 30. If there is, there's probably a mistake, which is good information. Similar for max players. I think the smallest I have is 2 again. Yep, there's a 2. And the largest I have is 10. So this is going to look very similar. For duration, I'm giving that in minutes, which is a time. And the minutes here, I have everything from 5 minutes to 180 minutes. Expansion is what we call a bifurcated variable, which is a specific type of categorical. But you can just say it's a categorical variable, right? And there are 2 categories. There are Y and N. And Y, in this case, means S. Oops, categorical. And N means no. So is an expansion? If it is, there should be a Y. If it's not, there should be an N. Addition is a more traditional categorical variable. It has several categories, and there are first, second, third, and fourth. Right? So these are possible categories that we might see here. So to think about categorical variables, I think a good example, I see a lot of these databases that like do someone's shoe collection, right? So shoe brand might have ASICS, Adidas, Nike. These would be categorical variables, right? This is categorical. And we'd expect, if we see something like this, so let's say I was doing shoes and I had a field that was shoe brand, the only entries in there would say ASICS, Adidas, or Nike. If I had more brands than that, then I would need to add more brands here. That's what you need to do for this assignment, and this sort of terminology is going to be very important when you move into Access next week.